Hey everybody, Nightmare on Kelp Street back. If you hear some chirping in the background today, that means I'm just out here in the wild again to film another video. I feel like sometimes to get out a little bit, give myself an excuse to get out. I've been filming some of these outside at a public park, at a local lake or pond or something. So that's what I'm currently doing out here. I'm kind of a little bit of a janky setup here with my skateboard. Is gonna be my prop for the phone, my laptop out for the song breakdowns and the album breakdowns for today's Friday wrap up. And my purse down here. So I'm gonna prop me up on the tip of my skateboard here. And from here, I finally get full fit check. And we're gonna be breaking down all the albums that came out August 23rd, 2024. So this is all the albums I got to at least, that I listened to this past Friday. I'm recording this and uploading this on August 29th, so the next Friday. I ran a little late this week, apologies. But I've already listened to some pretty good things this week. The new That Kid album. That Kid is a big featured artist on, I believe, at least 2 Slater albums now. Hyperpop, pop, electronic, EDM in some points, influence. But I finally made out a little list for this past week. First time in a while I did one of these written lists. I don't have it listed as which one in ranking of my favorite it was, but one that I missed on this list as coming out here was Strange Creature by Estelle Allen. This is like a hyperpop, pop electronic artist as well that I just got into in the past year or two, pretty recently compared to a lot of the other artists I cover in this channel. I like the standing mode, so I'm gonna go over here just to talk a little louder. Out of all the songs on this new Estelle Allen album, Strange Creature, it's roughly 24 minutes long. It's probably gonna be the shortest album I cover today. There goes my list. I'll keep it under the laptop here. The main key songs I really got out of this were a lot of the opener ones: Worm, Chrysalis, this title track, Strange Creature, Girlfriend, all very, very sweet, very like, wanna be your girlfriend, and it's like very hyper pop voice, and they're very hyper pop voice. Left at London shows up on here. Left at London is an artist that I've followed for years and aspired to eventually maybe make music as good as a trans creator. I love that. On Porch at the very end. Songs like Ortolan and interludes like that are very interesting, talking about the history of the ortolan bird and how people culturally eat them with a napkin over their face because of how gross and kind of detestable it is to how you eat them. You eat them full with the feathers and all, and talking about how that, like, the comparison of hiding your sins of eating this delectable creature versus like loving somebody so much you feel like it's a sin. Oh, it's the car to pass. But this is the first time I've really heard a full album by Estelle Allen outside of their last album, came out in 2023. Music 2. It's got this guy with like a police sketch picture face thing. I didn't include this on my list today, but I just remembered it as I was like going into reviewing the albums, and I figured I wanted to go ahead and cover it here. It's at the top of the video, so I went ahead and do that. But out of my rankings of what was my favorite this past week, we're gonna start with Magdalena Bay, Imaginal Disc. I've been a fan of Magdalena Bay since their album in 2020. At the end of 2022 or at the beginning of 2023, they dropped Mercurial World. Incredible listen. 2021 actually, so it's been at least 3 years now. I highly suggest Mercurial World. We're not going to go deep into it today, but they dropped a deluxe edition of the album that covers like fans' secrets. Fans call in, or they talk to them through the tour, and they revealed their own secrets to the band, and then the band just honestly put them, at least just with their voices, on the album. And some get really deep, I'm gay for my best friend, but I don't know how to tell them. I secretly don't like my girlfriend, things like that. So it really does get serious as it goes on. It starts really kind of silly, but it gets into serious territory. But from Imaginal Disc, all the videos and the visuals for this album, including the songs, but the visuals themselves really hyped me up for what the theme of this album would be, about how she has this angel and devil version of herself, and you can really start kind of piecing together the concept of the album to the very first song, She Looked Like Me, and how, like, it feels uncohesive in some moments, especially up in the first minute and a half, 2 minutes, But as you go on throughout the album, you start realizing like, oh fuck, there's a theme about like this demon character of her interrupting the album, and like interrupting her, being like, it's my show now, until all the way up until the very last track, the Ballad of Micah, An Angel on a Satellite, where you start realizing she loses. The angel version loses, and you're like, well, fuck. I guess we're just left with that. At least my interpretation of the album so far. This is a concept album, so it's left up to interpretation based on like how you listen to it, how you experience it. But even through the videos, I was like, oh, I feel like I'm getting the right signal here, where like the devil version of Girl loses. My key highlights on this one, I'd categorize this album as like pop, rock, prog pop in some moments. Some songs go up to 5-6 minutes long, but really progress and go deeper and deeper in layering as they go on, like Death and Romance and Tunnel Vision. Tunnel Vision especially, I would consider prog pop. If you're into songs that really like build upon themselves and meld like that. But my key highlights out of this are She Looked Like Me, Killing Time, Image, Death and Romance, Fear and Sex, Watching TV, Tunnel Vision, That's My Floor especially, that stuck in my head recently. And those are my key takeaways from this one. And for 15 tracks, that's a lot of songs, so this is easily my favorite listen of this past Friday. I highly recommend it out of anything else I've talked about in this video. Number 2, we're going to move on to Sabrina Carpenter, Short and Sweet. This was a nice surprise after just dropping an album this past year or so. A lot of people, if you're online, even if you don't like pop, you've probably been exposed to Please 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 or Espresso. Now that's me, Espresso. Switch it up like Nintendo. But this is just a standard pop album. It gets slower in some moments, like Dumb and Poetic, which I really do think about often sometimes now after I've heard the album, like just cause you leave like one doesn't make you a man. That's a really succinct sign and line and song to me, honestly. It really stands out as a deeper B-side cut from this album. But my main takeaways from this album would be Taste, Please Please Please, of course, Sharpest Tool, Bed Kim. I love the groove on Bed Kim. I love me a good funky sexual song. Espresso, Dumb and Poetic, and Juno are my main takeaways on this one, which is at least half the album. Also, our second shortest one of the listens today, 36 minutes long. It's an easy car ride listen. Outside of Estelle Allen, you put on both of these in a short ride and knock them out. Next, on my breakdown of my favorites and least favorites, would be Mothica, Kissing Death, number 3. This one was pretty good. Every Mothica album I hear has its highlights and ones that just kind of fade more in the background. Their last album, I finally bought the LP of, Nocturnal, came out in 2022. I bought the LP of it last year, and I've still been revisiting it. There's some good parts. I just feel like there's never been one really good cohesive theme or concept to any of her albums yet, so I feel like her best is still yet to come. But out of my highlights in this one, I would consider it like goth rock, goth pop, things like that. Like a lot of things about like childhood trauma, death. Kissing Death is the name of the album, but like overthinking about death, like thinking about family deaths, things like that. But my favorite songs would be Doomed, Curiosity Killed the Moth, Red, Afterlife, Mirage, The Void, and the title track at the very end, Kissing Death. I just think some of the thoughts and concepts for this album and videos, if you've seen these videos and singles, are a little underbaked. They could have spent a little more time in the oven, and we would have had a better product for it. But for 12 songs, and I like at least about half of them, it's pretty good to me, so I'll take that. Next on our breakdown for this past week would be Illuminati Hotties with Power. I just got recommended this from a good friend and soon-to-be collaborator on the channel once I finally finish editing our video for it, Dylan. Shout out to Dylan. He recommended me listen to Power by Illuminati Hotties. And while I haven't finished the album yet, I would still recommend it over the last album on our list today. But before we get to that, I'll kind of break down what genre I'd consider this album. I'd consider Illuminati Hotties to be, at least on this album, that's all I've heard of them, just some good indie pop, I would consider it. I made it all the way into the 7th song, Sleeping In, which is a very cutesy song about how like I didn't like to sleep in, but now I do because I sleep in with you, and it makes me think about you when I sleep in now. And it's a very it's a very romantic song, and one that I played in my house with my fiance this past day or two, and I was like, wow, this is like, it just made me think of her. Like I like sleeping in sometimes because I get to sleep in with you. It's a very romantic focused album, I realize. Outside of songs like The L, where she's like, I'll take the L, I know I realize I lost here. I think my favorite tracks off of what I've heard so far, about halfway in the album, are I Would Like Still Love You, Rot, Falling in Love with Somebody Better, and Sleeping In, where I just finished at. And this one's also pretty short. It's not 37 minutes long, so it's not too terrible to listen. If you'll watch the channel long enough, you'll go to learn that I hate long albums. It really takes a lot for a long album to sell me. I think one of the peak examples of that is Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly. While being over an hour long, I think closer to an hour 20 or so, it's such a good album that it's good enough to make you wait for the entirety of it in most sit-downs I listen to it. That's just a kind of off-the-cuff example of how long albums can still be good. Our last coverage today for albums that dropped this past Friday is Playthatboizay's VIP. And this album wasn't that great. I ended up mass skipping a lot of it. I'm having trouble finding it in my breakdown here, so I'm gonna sit down for a second and look it up. But I'll kind of go off of what I remembered of it. It's just a lot of what I've talked about on this channel before, about how I don't like how men talk about how they own women like objects. I don't like how some artists will get really aggressive and hypersexual when they talk about women. And Playthatboizay is just one of those examples where a lot of this album was him talking about, like, I fucking your bitch, I own her, things like that. And I honestly feel like we deserve a renaissance of moving out of music like that. Like, we should finally just start embracing, like, treating feminine people and women, or feminine presenting people in general, even if you're non-binary like me and present more feminine some days than others, with more respect. But if I had to talk about what my main tracks were off of this, I like song number 2, Lil Jit, with Kenny Mason. This is a rap album. This is a straight rap album, by the way. I forgot to go over the genre. I like Hoodlums, but that's a Denzel Curry song. So when I saw that come up on here, I was like, oh, he's really running out of steam if he has to put a main single from Denzel Curry's album, Mischievous South Part 2. That was the lead single for his album, and now it's here as well. So it's like, oh, we just copy-pasted it onto your album. It's Denzel Curry, Playthatboizay, and A$AP Rocky. And then Yo with track number 11 with JPEG Mafia, because I love JPEG Mafia. I kind of talked about his most recent album, and it was still up in that. But yeah, those are the only 3 I really have out of this 14-track album, and I wouldn't even say 1 or 2 of those I've listened to in full anymore. So that's kind of this week's breakdown. There's some things I'm already getting to for this next week, like that Kid album I mentioned. There's 1 or 2 more. I don't want to check my phone because it'll interrupt the recording here. But there's 1 or 2 more I'm going to get to by the end of the day that I'm excited to cover in the next week's wrap-up. But that's this week's wrap-up. I wanted to shout out again, thank you for the commenter who recommended me listen to the new Hosier EP. That was really nice. That was a very pleasant listen to while I was kind of skating around and doing my new music refreshers for that day. So thank you. And yeah, let me know what you liked out of what I mentioned today. If you've heard any of it, what you've been listening to in this past week. Even if it wasn't on this past Friday, just what you've been listening to in the past week or month or so. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. I love you, Kelpies. Stay cool out here. I know it's finally getting cooler where I am right now. I'm near some water, so that helps a little bit, but past 2 or 3 days, it hit up to 110 degrees. So if you're any farther south than I am in the Midwest, just stay hydrated, get in a pool or get in a cold shower when you can, and just stay healthy out here. I love y'all. See you, Kelpies. I'll see you if I don't upload another short or soon in the next week for the next Friday wrap up. Bye.